that's the premise of how I'm approaching whether or not I personally, you know, would install TikTok, because TikTok is, we owned by Chinese investors.
Right.
It's like, I don't even have to like go through. You could just do TikTok. What was the search I did? TikTok CCP. Just do a
Hmm.
Google search, TikTok CCP, and just start reading. Even in Google, which we know is a censored search result anyway. We know it's a
Correct.
left leaning. It's going to be right. So
Absolutely.
if I'm a parent, do I want not only the data and all of that, all of the information about my kids and what's on their phone being shared openly with a Chinese-owned company that we know has direct ties to the Chinese Communist Party? Okay. I believe we are in an I believe we're already in World War III. We're in a cultural war, a social war, an information war, a hearts and minds war, and it is literally communism versus freedom.
Hi, and welcome to the 91 Day Success Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan, and I'm thrilled today to have Lane with us from Signal Genesys. And I'm looking forward to this conversation because not only are we going to talk about SEO and the areas that Lane's just an absolute master in there, but I'm going to pick Lane's brain a little bit on a topic that I know he's very passionate about, and that topic is TikTok. And I want to chat with Lane a little bit about his thoughts on TikTok, where that fits in, and what we as business leaders should be thinking about as we choose to use or not use TikTok in our business. So, Lane, welcome, and thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, Jonathan, great to be with you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the invite. Great to be here with you and your audience, hopefully.
Absolutely. Well, let's start by just a little bit of background and let people know who you are. I know a lot of the audience already knows you, but some may not. Talk to us just a little bit, if you could, kind of give us that elevator pitch on Signal Genesys and how you work with agencies to help their clients with search engine optimization.
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Thanks for that intro. So, a little bit about Signal Genesis. We've got about eight real programming years of research and development, combined with my previous 13 years in the SEO industry, really digital marketing, branding, and about 5 years ago, we embarked on creating a platform for agencies that would help solve. Well, we really built it to solve our problems internally at our own agency with SEO challenges, the economics of it, getting consistent, predictable results, and there's a lot, as you know, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to SEO and getting those predictable results for your clients. And so, we were, doing guest post blogging, manual link building, citation building, and all of these things that went into trying to do SEO and move the needle for our clients. And but it was a lot of manual work, and it was also uh, um, I'd say pricey. It was expensive.
Sure.
Anyways, guest post blogging, as you know, is just or manual link, but buying one link sometimes was just incredibly cost prohibitive. So trying to scale SEO, trying to eliminate a lot of the manual processes. We just got to work on kind of bringing a solution to market that solved our problems. But early on, to your point, we decided to develop the platform for agencies exclusively. We know the agency world. I've lived in it for 13 years. So, as a software developer, you have unique advantages when you know the industry. You're not just coming in externally to
Hmm.
solve a problem potentially with money. We have that insider knowledge, and then having done SEO myself for 13 years, along with my partner Matt, who's really brilliant as well, who leads our dev team. We decided to build this for other agencies as well because we knew we would solve an industry problem when we solved our own problem.
Well, and I can certainly attest as a user, you guys have an amazing system and it works really well. And it's really well set up for agencies so that we can help our clients do well. And I really appreciate what you've done there.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Lee, if somebody that's watching is not an agency owner, but they're a business person and they're wondering what should they be looking for when they're looking to have somebody help them with SEO, what type of questions might you recommend that the average business leader ask of their SEO provider, or related so that they can find an expert to help them that really is going to do a good job versus the smoke and mirrors that, of course, sometimes fits into that part of the world as well.
Well, boy, that's a question with an answer that's like an onion. It's got many
Fair
layers.
enough.
But for the business owner asking that question, trying to look for a quality, like provider that can really solve the problem and get the results. The first thing I'd say is stay away from the really big companies where you're dealing with a sales rep.
Mm.
So there's have you ever seen that Martech marketing landscape mind map before? I mean, there's like
Yeah,
tens of thousands
absolutely.
of
Yep.
providers, right? So you've got tens of thousands of providers from unique things like Yelp or directory listings like Yellow Pages and Merchant Circle, and you've got the big, huge agencies that have sales forces of anywhere from dozens to hundreds of people. I say stay away from all of those big players because you're not going to be getting an expert talking to you as the business owner. You're getting a sales rep who's there making commission on whatever they can sell you. That is a hugely different relationship. When you're dealing with a sales rep versus when you're dealing with an agency owner who has a real grasp on the industry and what's going on. So that's the first thing I'd say, because
Good.
you have to strip away. That's a lot of noise. Business owners are bombarded every single day with phone calls and emails,
Absolutely.
marketing messages from offshore, from onshore, from all of these different players, and then you have a real agency owner of whatever size they might be, but they've got their fingers on the pulse, their boots are on the ground, so to speak, and they really know what's going on. And there you're going to have they're going to be smaller company, but you're going to
Hmm.
get better attention typically as long as you can then find the quality providers there, because that's still the wild west in many ways. Um,
Absolutely.
just the agency world of the people that hold themselves out to be at some level or another a marketing agency or an SEO company or an advertising company. So within that wild west of agencies, real marketing agencies, if I'm a business owner, I'm now looking for expertise. Just I look at it like
Hmm.
if I were looking for a doctor, if I had a foot problem, or if I had a legal problem, or I had a tax problem. There's a lot of choices, but
Sure.
I'm gonna really start to filter through the noise to find an expert, because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my money. And if it's my business and my look at it as my business health, I don't want to go to just any old marketing doctor. I want to go to an expert marketing doctor who really can. So I'm looking for expertise, and I can ask very simple questions and I can gauge expertise based on the answers. So there you can really understand, does this person have a grasp of what's really happening here, or do they kind of fumble with the question, beat around the bush, and get back to their sales pitch? And so
Great advice.
sometimes reviews will ferret that out, not always though. But I would definitely want to cross-reference that with, do they have any reviews? It doesn't have to be a volume of reviews, because again, you're working probably with a little bit of a smaller company, but
Hmm.
I'm looking for insight into what are those reviews actually saying, because I'm looking for an expert. And that's ultimately, I think, if a business goes at it like if they were looking for an expert doctor or expert lawyer, expert tax, accountant, whatever it might be, you'll get the idea.
Makes perfect sense. I know just the other day I was talking to a prospect about working with our agency, and one of the questions that they raised, because they're with a large national agency right now, is that national company is telling them, look, nobody can do the same things that we can do. We've got better relationships, we've got better knowledge, we've got better everything. And I got to admit, I looked at him and said, that SEO is a skill set and it is an art, and there's definitely skill associated with it. But I don't believe in, and I'd love your opinion on this, that just because you're a big guy in the industry, so to speak, or a big player, that you have any more advantage in ranking your customer sites than what a smaller agency, again, with the same skills and the same expertise, can have.
It's
What are
actually
your thoughts on that?
I think it's just the opposite. It's a really good point, Jonathan. I think it's just the opposite. I think the larger they are, the more at a disadvantage they are, because you just lose control of quality, and quality matters even more now today in SEO than it did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It's been a gradual slope towards
Sure.
quality, and it's not that there's ever been I wouldn't even say there's a different standard for quality within the search algorithms or the search companies, whether it's Google or Yahoo or Bing. They're all looking for quality. I don't think there's ever really a different standard. We all, even 10 years ago, still wanted good quality content, not spammy content. It's just that the algorithm, the technology, the patents have gotten way more sophisticated and better at detecting quality in an automated way at scale, because the size of the web has also, mushroomed. So uh,
Absolutely.
so getting back to the point of the question is, is a larger company at a greater advantage or disadvantage, as the case may be, over a smaller agency and getting SEO outcomes that are positive for the client? And the answer is no. Size has nothing to do with the algorithm. They're not looking at the size of the agency. If you're doing SEO for a plumber, and the agency, whether it's small or large over here, is doing the SEO, they're not,
Hmm.
their size has no weight or influence on that company and what the algorithm is detecting about that company online. You're doing the work for them, not so the size really is irrelevant in that respect. The reason I say it's a disadvantage is because I have continuously experienced, not just in my marketing years of experience in marketing, but really throughout all experiences in life. The larger the company, almost generally speaking, the lower the quality, at least predictably and consistently it is, because it's just quality control. Unless you are insane about it as a company, the larger you get, the less quality you have, and you can look at that in many applications. No matter what it is.
No, I was gonna say, I think that's kind of across the board, like so many things. It's when you get to be large, your accounts becomes one of many numbers, one of many small fish in a pool, not somebody that's getting that personalized attention, and candidly, probably not getting the attention of the most talented people on the team, because they're busy focusing on other accounts, not on your stuff. So that makes
100%.
perfect sense.
Which was why I said in the shopping experience, are you dealing with a sales rep or are you dealing with an
Hmm.
owner or a key partner in the agency? Because the difference will be dramatic. Like you said, they're going to be a number, and that sales rep, those guys and gals come in and out, in and out, in and out. So the
Right.
sales rep you have today is probably going to change within the next 3 to 6 months. There's a high likelihood, and so you're going to be constantly getting a new sales rep that's your account manager. I've had that I won't mention the names. I use some of the larger software companies, for our
Sure.
research, and I can't tell you how many times I get a new email about the new account manager that's now taken over our account. It's like 4 or 5 times a year, like literally.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, if you don't want to go through that, then find a quality, a lower or a smaller agency, and smaller agency can still be in the many millions a year, but you're talking, these bigger companies are doing, you know 50 to 100, 200 million a year in gross revenues. They're huge companies.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and I think that's great advice, and I think that's helpful because it's one of the questions I know I hear a lot. One of the other really common questions I hear, and again, as an agency, I know we generally know the answers to this, but do I have to be creating different content for Bing and Yahoo than what I'm creating for Google? As somebody who's spent far more time in this than I have, Lane, what's your perspective on how to handle the differences in ranking algorithms and that between the different platforms?
Well, I think that's there's a couple layers of that question. The first layer I'd say is, I don't e- we wouldn't even advise a client to pay attention to Bing and Yahoo until they're absolutely optimized for Google, because Google search consumes 90 to 95% of the entire search market. So
Yep.
I'm not going to optimize for the people or platforms or search engines that are fighting for the scraps of the 5 to 10% that's there, that they're all fighting for a share of. I'm optimizing for Google, which has 90%. So, all right. So now let's say we've optimized for Google. We're just killing it in Google. We feel like, hey, we've really maximized what we can do here. All right, well, let's go and see if we can't do anything different. I would, recommend that even on a setup of, even an SEO campaign, that you do build out some of the assets in Bing and Yahoo, build out a local
Sure.
Yahoo listing, build out a Bing business listing, there's value in those, the authority of those assets for your brand as well. But beyond optimization, no, we don't really have to do much to worry about Yahoo and Bing, because if we do a good job for Google, the rankings are almost mirrored in the other search engines.
Well, and I got to say, Lane, it's one of the things I've always appreciated about you is you've got a very pragmatic perspective in taking a look at SEO and focusing on the results as opposed to what feels good or what's flashy. And I know as an agency owner, that is just got so much value in our ability to deliver good results to our clients, is having partners like you that are focused on the details in the back end, but not getting caught up on the latest and greatest and fanciest unless it delivers good results. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'll give you a quick, the reason why behind that I have that perspective, Jonathan, is, I was an agency owner, before we shifted into dealing exclusively with agencies and, as a white label agency and both of our software as a white label software platform. I sat for 9 years in your shoes and sold to other businesses, and businesses are always, unless they're all, I don't care at what level. In fact, sometimes it's even worse. The bigger the business gets, every business is money conscious.
Absolutely.
No, I've never met anybody who said, yeah, we have an unlimited budget, let's just go. Right. I mean, there's always apprehension or friction around how much they're going to spend. What are they going to get for it? Is there value there? Is there going to be, tangible results? How's it going to be reported? So going through 9 years of that, you just become, you get in tune with your clients, and you understand, hey, these are business owners. A lot of them were my friends, because I built my agency on referrals largely.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of them were were neighbors or friends or referred by friends or neighbors. And so you care about their business because they're a small business owner in your backyard, and so they're money conscious, they're on budgets, and so they're looking for value. And so why waste time on all the Yelp calls for a Yelp platform that's trying to charge me $300 or $500 a month and promising all these things, and really they're a minor player in the overall market. They're fighting for 7 or 8% of the overall market, right? And
sure.
But they want $300 or $500 of your money, and that money reallocated towards a place where it's going to drive in 90% of the market is going to just, it'll fundamentally transform a business.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a good segue, Lane, into the other topic I wanted to talk to you about. And as we talk about market share, and we think over on the platforms and where we're sharing data, obviously the major platforms that business owners are hearing about nowadays are Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn. And let us not forget TikTok.
TikTok, yeah.
You and I have had a couple conversations about this, and I know where you stand, and I agree with you on a lot of that. And I want you to share with me, if you would, why do you think that TikTok, if I can blow the secret, but why is there more danger with TikTok than there is benefit to a business?
Okay, so the underlying premise that I approach this with is one of, I understand what's happening when I install an app on my phone. Okay.
Yep.
I understand Facebook's following me. I understand Facebook's probably listening right now, on the phone. But think about what I just said, right? Okay. We know that's happening. We joke about it, at parties or with the friends of, I'll say this, and then, I'll see an ad either the same day or the next day in my, Facebook timeline or whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay. That is in fact a reality. When the minute you install an app on your phone, okay, whether you like it or not, you can agree to the terms and conditions. And I challenged anyone listening of when's the last time you read all of it and really deciphered what you were actually consenting to. I don't even do it because I know what I'm
Never.
to. I am consenting to basically full control of my phone, and that's what you're doing. Now, they may say, in their PR world, in their marketing world, oh, we would never listen to your conversations, or we would never share your data with anyone or sell your data to anyone. Okay. But that's just what they say. How are you or I or anyone else ever going to prove that of what they're doing with our data? Now, when you
Exactly.
install an app on your phone, that app is getting root access to everything on your phone. Okay. Whether they disclose what their app is actually accessing is a different story. And then that now you have to, really evaluate the trustworthiness of the company, the developer, and any associations they may have, and other third-party dependencies that their app may
Mhm.
have integrated into their app to provide the functionality that you're using on your phone. And no one that I know of, none of my friends go through even this much thought into whether they install it or not, right? It's just,
Absolutely, we don't.
let's
Yep.
install it, agree to terms, let's go. What you're doing is you're giving that app developer and their app full control over your phone. They can listen, they can see everything you type. They, meaning the app, they're going to get every single piece of data on your phone, your location, the mic. They have access to your microphone, access to your camera. They can turn the camera on without you knowing. All of that happens when you install an app on your phone. Now, Apple and Google say that they do all the due diligence on whether or not these apps are actually fulfilling within their, what they say they're doing, and
Mhm.
all that. But I can assure you that there are people circumventing those and hiding what they're doing and getting their apps approved in the App Store for download. Okay, so that's the premise of how I'm approaching whether or not I personally, you know, would install TikTok, because TikTok is, we owned by Chinese investors.
Right.
It's like, I don't even have to like go through. You could just do TikTok. What was the search I did? TikTok CCP. Just do a
Mhm.
Google search, TikTok CCP, and just start reading. Even in Google, which we know is a censored search result anyway, we know it's a
Correct.
left leaning. It's going to be right. So
Absolutely.
if I'm a parent, do I want not only the data and all of that, all of the information about my kids and what's on their phone being shared openly with a Chinese-owned company that we know has direct ties to the Chinese Communist Party? Okay. I believe we are in an all-out. I believe we're already in World War III. We're in a cultural war, a social war, an information war, a hearts and minds war, and it is literally communism versus freedom. Um, and I don't know how we can't see that after experiencing what we've all gone through the last 2 to 3 years. Uh,
Mhm.
so um, I believe we're in a big war around this issue. I'm not going to support anything that is going to support or has direct ties to the CCP. I'm definitely not going to let them have access to my phone. And you can go to Google search and you can look at all of the issues that even senators, presidents, high-ranking officials, national security officials within our own government, as even as odd as it is right now within our own government, are even crying, wolf with what's going on there. So that's a 5-minute explanation, but I know what these apps have access to, and there's no app that has that I can understand has ties to China and the CCP is going to get onto my phone. From a parent standpoint, not only the access to the data, but then there's the brainwashing,
Mhm.
the information that they see. We know that that's being manipulated. It's being manipulated by algorithms. We saw it being manipulated in Facebook and Twitter, even by American
Exactly.
companies. So if you have American companies manipulating what kids see and the advertising they see and all that, how much more do you want your kids? You're giving your kids literally, or the Chinese Communist Party, a direct access to your kids, their brains, their information. We know kids are extremely. I was a psychology tutor in college. Kids' brains in that age group, before they're fully formed, are incredibly impressionable. We know that. We see the
Yep.
result, positive and negative, because of that. Do we want to give the Chinese Communist Party direct access to our kids and their brains in an incredibly impressionable time in their life? The answer is clearly no for me.
Oh, and I'm on the same page with you, Lane, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you talk about that a little bit. You're one of the people that encouraged me to actually think that through. I hadn't necessarily thought some of that through, and you're right. If you think Lane and I are crazy, by the way, I got a challenge for you. Take your phone, leave it sitting on the table, and tonight over dinner, talk about the fact that you want to buy a canoe or that you want to go fishing in Idaho or Montana or wherever. and have a conversation about that with your phone on, sitting on the table. If you don't see ads in the next 48 hours for canoes and fishing equipment, I will be absolutely shocked, because Facebook's actively listening. We know others are as well. I don't know exactly who listens, but Lane, like you said, I know if I talk about something like that, in fact, possibly even just by talking it on the podcast here, I'm going to start seeing ads showing up for fishing equipment, for canoes, for trips to Montana to go trout fishing, anything like that, because they've heard that in the conversation. And
And
in theory, that's okay, because I want them to market to me and make my life better. The problem is, as I think you've pointed out, do we really want to trust that that data is always going to be taken care of properly? We've seen our own US based companies screw that up. I certainly don't want to trust a foreign national company to do it.
no, especially one that's in China, right? I mean,
Abs-
we have a unique global threat in our adversaries in China. These are our enemies, not the people of China. The Chinese Communist Party. I mean, we see the people of China being victimized by the Chinese Communist Party, but that is a dictatorial regime that
Mhm.
has firm authoritarian control over the billions of people that live in China.
No, absolutely.
Not the Chinese people. Let's be clear. They're great people. Some of them live here. I have neighbors that are Chinese. They're great people. It's the Chinese Communist Party, and what they are trying to do too. They're trying to impose their ideology, their authoritarian control over the entire globe. And we saw what they're willing to do in the lead up and release of the bioweapon called COVID-19 on the world.
Well, and just in the reality of things, I've seen it recently. So, if you're not familiar with TikTok's terms of service, look up and Google Joe Rogan and TikTok, and you'll find an episode where he read through the terms of service. You'll be amazed at the stuff that's in there. I hadn't read it, I'll readily admit it, but you'll be amazed. The other thing that really surprised me, well, and maybe not surprised me, but I found interesting the other day is I love watching Patrick Bet-David, and I think he's a great business guy with tremendous ideas. And he had actually done a test on his channel. If you don't know Patrick Bet-David, he talks largely about business and entrepreneurship, capitalism, things like that, but he ventures into some other side topics. And he had been posting content on both Instagram and the exact same content on TikTok.
Hmm.
And he was getting more views on TikTok. He then, I believe it was on August 5th or 8th, did a podcast where he talked negatively about China. Again, not the Chinese people, but the Chinese Communist government. And literally the following day, his views went from hundreds of thousands of views per video on TikTok to hundreds of views. Those
Wow.
same videos are still getting hundreds of thousands of views on Instagram, just as they were before that. But on TikTok, he
Yeah,
just shared this
throttle.
the other
Yeah.
day.
Wow.
Yeah, got throttled way back. So while I know it's so easy because we enjoy these apps and we enjoy all that, they're never going to do that. They are. And the more information they have, regardless, the more tools they have to influence us in positive and or negative ways. And I think, Lane, when you talk about our kids in particular, it's so important for us as parents to
Yeah.
know, hey, this is not something worth playing around with. It's not worth the risk. Maybe you're right. Maybe they're not going to do it. But do you really want to risk your child's thoughts process, their maturing, the thoughts that are planted in their brain to grow? Do you want to risk that? Is it really
They are
worth it?
doing it. Let's be clear. They are doing it. Look at the degradation of our society and our culture in the last 10 years.
No
It is
doubt.
it is extreme.
Oh, I agree.
We're dealing with drag shows, and our kids are being invited to drag shows to put money in the pants of grown men dressed as women, and that's being and these children are being pushed this ideology, this lifestyle, this wickedness is being pushed into them through social media. That's where they're getting it from. They're not getting it. Yes, they're even starting to get it at school now, which is how bad it is, because now you've got an entire generation of kids who were pushed this ideology through social media. They went through school and college, and they are now teachers in the classroom, right? And
Exactly.
reinforcing what they were taught for the last 10 years through Facebook, Instagram, the TikToks of the world, all of these others.
Precisely.
So it's been happening through American companies.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
not just China, but it's an extreme risk with TikTok. Now, we could keep going. This is a rabbit hole for sure. I will tell you this: we as a company, I as the CEO of the company, have made a decision, and this is not a new one. We made this, years ago, and have just followed through on it still to this day. We will not do any marketing for our clients with TikTok. We don't offer that as a service. We're
Right.
not going to go into that platform. I know it means we lose some business and some opportunities that we would otherwise have if we did provide that as a solution. I'm okay with that.
Well, and I think that's important that, at no time maybe in history or not, I don't know, but it's always been important that we stand on our values and we stand up for what we believe in. We don't all have to agree on everything, but one of the things that I'm so thankful for is that we do have that opportunity to make those decisions and to act appropriately. And if you disagree, that's okay. There's no problem with that. But I think that's one of the awesome things about the country we live in is we still, as of the moment, have the opportunity to make those decisions and stand on our values.
But the
Well, Lane,
slippery
like you said,
slope we're on is that we're even having to qualify right now, like, at least as of today. We
yeah,
still have the right. No, we're actually already being censored, and we've really lost a lot of freedom here in America because we've been in bed with China and their ideology for decades, and we've let them just continuously erode our culture and our freedoms through their ideology, and it's slipped into every area of our culture and our government. In our educational system, and people are okay with being censored. They're now crying for censorship. They're
yeah.
so yeah, it's a dangerous world we live in. It's just like you said, we got to take stands where we need to, and it's okay to be differing in opinions. I respect your opinion if you differ from mine, and that's the great thing about
Absolutely.
America.
Well, and again, I think this is a rabbit hole we could spend a lot of time in because there's a lot of items we agree on here, Lane. But
Yeah.
I want to respect your time, and I do have one other question I'd like to ask. And we call this the 91 Day Success Podcast for a reason, and that's it. I love asking the guests that we have on here, all successful businessmen like yourself or businesswomen. If you had to start over, Lane, and I gave you $1,000 and said, "Hey, how can you grow a business that can generate $10,000 or more a month in 91 days?" What couple things would you focus on for the first 91 days? That's 3 months, by the way, for everybody wondering. We get just over 30.3 days per month. So 91 days is 3 months. What would you do in the first 3 months if you had to start over to create a business that would, again, hit that target of $10,000 a month in revenue 3 months down the road?
Is this a business that I have experience in already, or
Anything, anything you want. Just a couple simple rules. You can't borrow any money, and you can't necessarily say, "Okay, I'm going to reach out to my existing clients and build it." You'd be starting over. But imagine I picked you up and said, "All right, Lane, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put you in the middle of Topeka, Kansas." And you've got $1,000. You've got food. You've got shelter. You've got a vehicle. Your basic needs are met. But you've got $1,000 in 91 days to build a business. What would you do first?
well, I guess it would depend on the business. But
Whatever you want.
the first thing I would do is make sure I have the knowledge of the business I'm going to get into. So if I take the premise that I'm a, I'll just take I'm a marketing agency, right? Like,
Sure.
I got to start over. I have some marketing experience from other jobs I've had or
Yep.
whatever. But I've got to start my own business now. Maybe I just got fired, or I lost my job, or I got laid off, or whatever. Um, and I'm going to start a marketing agency. I would invest that $1,000 in the seven-figure agency group. To be honest with you, in
I'm with you there.
excuse me, some level of knowledge to help. That's my insurance policy to be successful. The rest of it, I mean, $1,000 is not a lot of money. So
No.
really, to get the knowledge and maybe some people on my team to help me or surround myself with, which is what you get when you kind of join a mastermind of something like that. So I'd find a group of people or a mastermind, I'd invest the money there so that I had some success coaches and some resources and support there. And then the rest of it's just pure hard work, right? You're going to have to work
Absolutely.
hard, and persist. I was thinking about it this morning. I walk my dog twice a day, every morning, every evening. And so I pray and I think and I just reflect on those walks. It's a great time. And I just was thinking back about my entire life and how it's really just persistence, like success.
Absolutely.
My success, whatever level I've had, has never been when I planned it. I always planned it a lot sooner. I've
Yep.
always planned my success to be a lot greater, but I know that I've achieved certain levels of success because I've just persisted, and I still have more to go. And so, if I only had $1,000 in 91 days, you're just going to have to really work hard. But I would invest $1,000 in my own knowledge, education, and a support system to be successful.
Well, I think it's great advice. I think one of the best investments any entrepreneur can make is investing in themselves, and that's exactly what you're talking about. And there's no doubt, for everyone, we know tons of businesses through both seven figure agency and others that have become, I will say, quote unquote, overnight successes after a decade of hard work,
Mhm.
and sleepless nights, and things like that don't come easy. Success takes time and takes a lot of hard work. But I appreciate you sharing that, and I really appreciate your perspective on that.
Yeah, thank
One of
you.
the things we'd love to do, Lane, is and we'll include your information on Signal Genesis and how to get in touch with you if an agency owner is watching this and they want to learn more. What's the best way for them to reach out and learn more about how you can help them help their clients, Lane? Is it just to reach out and schedule a call, or what's the best step they should take to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really accessible. In the world that we're in, we have to kind of be an omni-channel type of communicator. So I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Skype and all those channels. But signalgenesis.com, I'm sure you'll provide that because we have
I will.
we have a unique spelling on Genesis. It's SYS on the end, not SIS. But yeah, on our website we have a live chat. You can get there as well. Or admin at signalgenesis.com. That also will get right to me as well. So. But appreciate you, introducing our company and our software platform and solution for agencies. And really great time just talking with you and talking a little bit about TikTok and other things as well.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you responding to the video. It was great to meet you in person in Miami recently when we were
Yeah,
down there for the seven figure
absolutely.
agency. But if you are an agency owner and you're wondering, I want to give a personal just testimony to Lane and the credibility that he brings to things. Lane is the real deal, and his team does an amazing job. There's a lot of solutions that you can take a look at, but you owe it to your clients, even more than you owe it to you, to do a great job. And I believe that means having a conversation with Lane, just as our agency's done, to learn what he can do to help you help your clients. So
Thank
if
you,
you
John.
need it, talk to him.
I really
So
appreciate
Lane,
that. Thank you. It means a lot.
no, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. We may have to have another one of these conversations on things. I think it would be fun to actually do a test, and I'll follow up. We'll see if I get any fishing gear ads in the next day or two, and we'll post some, maybe a follow up on the podcast, because I'm betting I'll see those ads probably before tomorrow morning's over. So.
Yeah, I have mine here too. We'll see.
All right. Lane, thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. And if I don't talk to you, a very blessed Christmas, my friend. Thank you.
You too, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate you, Jonathan. Take care.
Thanks, Lane.